I never understood my stepmother. To me, she was just a shadow that entered my life after my mother died. A quiet presence moving through our house, rearranging things, cooking meals I often left untouched, speaking softly as if she was afraid even her voice might disturb the memory of someone I had lost. My name is Daniel, and this is the story of how I came to hate, then misunderstand, and finally understand the woman I once refused to accept. I was 14 when my mother died. One moment she was in the kitchen, laughing while she stirred tea and told me to stop being lazy and go wash my hands. The next moment, she collapsed. Everything after that feels like a blur, even now. Hospital lights, rushed voices, my father holding my shoulder too tightly, and then silence. After the funeral, the house changed. Not suddenly, slowly, like something inside it stopped breathing. My father stopped talking much. He stopped sitting at the dining table. He stopped playing music in the evenings. And I stopped expecting anything to feel normal again. We became two strangers living under the same roof. Then, one day, he brought her home. Her name was Sarah. She stood at the door with a small bag in her hand, her eyes calm but unsure, like she was stepping into a place where she didn't belong, but had still chosen to enter. My father said, "She will stay with us." I didn't answer. I didn't even look at her properly, because in my heart, I had already decided something. She was a replacement, and I hated that idea more than anything. The first weeks were unbearable for me. Sarah tried to be kind in every way she could think of. She woke up early before everyone else. I would hear her moving quietly in the kitchen, preparing food. She cleaned the house carefully, not making a sound. She even tried to learn what I liked to eat. But I didn't make it easy. I ignored her completely. If she asked me a question, I answered with silence or short words. If she cooked, I barely touched the food. If she smiled at me, I looked away. I wanted her to feel like she didn't belong. But the strange thing was, she never reacted the way I expected. She never shouted, never complained, never told my father she couldn't handle me. She just kept staying. Quietly, like she had nowhere else to go. One rainy evening changed something small inside me. I had stayed outside longer than I should have. I didn't want to go home. I didn't want to see her face. I didn't want to feel anything. When I finally came back, I was soaked from the rain, my clothes heavy, my shoes muddy. The front door opened before I even knocked properly. Sarah was standing there with a towel in her hands. She looked at me for a second and said softly, "You'll get sick." "I don't care," I said immediately. She didn't argue. She didn't step back. Instead, she gently placed a towel around my shoulders. Her hands were warm, and I froze, not because I liked it, but because it didn't feel fake. It felt natural, like she wasn't trying to prove anything, like she was just doing it because she couldn't help it. For the first time, I didn't know how to react, so I just walked past her without saying anything. But I remember that warmth for a long time. Weeks passed, then months, and I started noticing things I didn't want to notice. She never ate the best portion of food. She always left it for me. She always woke up early, even when she was clearly tired. She always checked if I had eaten, even when I ignored her completely. Sometimes I would see her sitting alone in the evening, not doing anything, just staring at old photos she kept hidden away. But I didn't ask questions, because I was afraid of what the answers might change inside me. One day, I discovered something I wasn't supposed to see. There was a small room in the house that was always locked. I had seen her go in there once or twice, always carefully, always looking around first. Curiosity got the better of me. One afternoon when she went out, I opened it. Inside, the air felt different, heavier, older. There were boxes stacked neatly in the corner, photographs, letters tied with string, a small hospital bracelet placed carefully on top of a cloth. I picked it up. My mother's name was written on it. My heart dropped instantly. My hand started shaking without me realizing. Why would she have this? I was still standing there when I heard footsteps outside the room. I quickly put everything back and stepped away just as Sarah entered the house. That night, I couldn't sleep. Something inside me had changed, even though I didn't understand what was yet. The next morning, I couldn't hold it in anymore. I waited until she was in the kitchen. My voice came out sharper than I intended. Why do you have my mother's things? She froze immediately, not like someone surprised, like someone who had been waiting for this moment for a long time. Slowly, she sat down at the table. For a few seconds, she didn't speak. Then she said quietly, "I knew you would find them one day." My anger flared. "Answer me." She looked down at her hands, and when she spoke again, her voice was different, heavier. "My name. I knew your mother long before you were born." That sentence stopped everything inside me. She continued, "We were best friends. We studied together. We shared everything. We used to talk about the future like nothing could ever break it." I stayed silent. My chest felt tight. Then she reached for one of the letters. "These are hers," she said softly. "She wrote them before she died." My mother had written letters? Why had I never seen them? Sarah's eyes turned red, but she didn't cry yet. She knew she was sick for a long time, she said. She just didn't tell you everything. My hands clenched. "And she asked you to keep them?" Sarah nodded slowly. Then she whispered the words that changed everything. "Your mother made me promise that you would not grow up alone." The room went completely silent. Even the air felt still. I didn't know what to feel. Anger, confusion, pain, guilt, all mixed together. Because suddenly, Sarah wasn't a stranger anymore. She was someone carrying a promise that didn't belong to her, but she never put it down. After that day, I avoided her, not out of hatred, but because I couldn't face her. Every time I saw her, I remembered what she had said, and I started noticing her more clearly. The way she stayed awake late at night, even when she was exhausted. The way she always made sure I had everything I needed before she thought about herself. The way she never once tried to force me to call her anything. She didn't demand love. She just gave it, quietly, without conditions. One night, I heard her crying. It was very soft, almost hidden, like she was trying not to exist while feeling pain. I stood outside her door for a long time. Then I knocked. The crying stopped immediately. She opened the door quickly, wiping her face. "What is it?" she asked gently. I couldn't speak at first. My throat felt tight. Then I said the only thing I could manage. "I'm sorry." She shook her head immediately. "No," she said softly. "You don't need to be sorry." But I was. Not because of one moment. Because of everything I had not seen before. After that night, something changed between us. Not suddenly. Slowly. She began to talk more about my mother. Not in a painful way, but in a warm way. She told me how she laughed loudly even when people told her not to. How she cared too much about everyone around her. How she was stubborn but kind in ways that made people trust her easily. And as I listened, something strange happened. It felt like my mother was not completely gone. like she was still alive in memory, in stories, in the way Sarah remembered her. Time passed. The house felt different again, but this time not empty. One morning, I was late for school. I grabbed my bag quickly and headed for the door. Sarah came after me holding lunch. "You'll need this," she said. I hesitated. For a moment, I just looked at her, and I saw everything clearly for the first time. Not a stranger, not a replacement, but someone who stayed when she could have left. Someone who carried love that was never fully hers, but still gave it completely. My voice came out quietly. "Thank you, Mom." She froze completely. The bag almost slipped from her hands. Her eyes filled with tears instantly, but she didn't cry loudly. She just smiled, a small, broken, beautiful smile, and said softly, "Go carefully." And that was the moment everything finally made sense. Her secret was never something dark. It was something sacred, a promise, a love that didn't need recognition to exist, a life built around someone else's memory. And I had been blind to it for so long. Even now, I remember her not as a stepmother, but as the woman who never stopped loving someone else's child, even when that child didn't love her back. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more emotional and beautiful stories. Your support means everything.